salutations, listener. It is the boy. Here this week with the fourth nerd in the nerd stable. That would be Billy. Say hi to the people, Billy.
Tally-ho.
And this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to thank Super Blizzard. His Shining Rosado song, Let's Get Hardcore, is our theme music. And he gave it to us for freezies, because he's a super awesome guy like that. You should go take a look at his Patreon page. You can support him making more awesome wrestling musics, and he makes cool video games like Puppet Kingdom and Joy Lancer. Joy Lancer's the big one. As always, we are happy to have you here, listener, and this week, as you may be able to tell from the title card, unless White has decided to roost you and put a different title card up, we are talking about the WWE Pay-Per-View Extreme Rules for 2015. Alright, as usual, we're probably going to be breaking down the matches in order, but first, let's do sort of a general overview. Billy, what'd you think of the show?
I really liked it. I thought it was a solid 4-star show, I thought.
You know what? I can't disagree with that. Honestly, this was a really, really solid pay-per-view. I was stunned at how good it was. I have one real big gripe, and that is most of and the finish to the main event I thought was fairly shitty, but I'll get into that when we get into the main event. The rest of the show, however, just solid, aces work. I even watched the pre-show because I got the start time wrong and I was already playing, so I was eating at that time, so I didn't catch everything like 100%, but it was mostly just 4 talking heads and then a match.
Yeah.
So, right out the gate, I got some bad news in the pre-show, like the rest of the universe got. Just to be clear, much like the last pay-per-view, much like WrestleMania, I have not seen one piece of WWE television at all this entire pay-per-view cycle. I watched WrestleMania, I saw nothing, I watched Extreme Rules. Billy, have you been keeping up week to week?
I have, yes.
Alright, so
And you know damn well I have, because I've been updating you on the reactions Roman Reigns been getting.
I know, but the listener doesn't. I do want to talk.
They should have been in the convo.
I do want to talk about those reactions because those were just really hilarious little updates you gave me. But I have personally seen nothing. You'll have the more. I'll probably ask you to fill me in on some stuff as we go by. But I think it'll provide 2 different sort of outlooks. And I gotta say, I don't know. I don't think I missed anything this pay-per-view cycle, because I saw all the video packages for all the matches telling me every goddamn thing that happened on every possible Raw and SmackDown 15 times. So I think I'm caught up, but if there's something you feel you need to elaborate on, please do not hesitate to tell me so. We're also probably going to be working in the podcast we did for the last pay-per-view, the booking podcast. We'll probably work that in, mostly because I don't actually have a wealth of booking ideas from here, because this was a good pay-per-view. So... But
part of booking is to capitalize on the good as well.
Yes, and I'm a contrarian, so I'm not good at that. But first match. We'll do it, since I actually saw it, we'll do the pre-show. Did you see the pre-show?
I did, yes.
Awesome. Alright, so Bad News Barrett fights Neville because Daniel Bryan is injured again. Do you know what his injury is a result of? Do you know what the deal is?
No, I've been reading some of the internet dirt sheets, and no one's really sure what it is. There was talk maybe it was a concussion, or maybe his arm, or...
I really hope it's not his arm.
Yeah, no one's really sure, and the WWE hasn't really said anything either.
That's super lame. I hope he's fine. I hope he's back, like, Monday. I hope you can message me on Facebook Monday and say, hey, if Daniel Bryan's back, he's great. But Daniel Bryan's health...
I can do that whether he is back or not.
Well, don't lie to me. That'll get my hopes up for next pay-per-view.
No, that would be brilliant, to just lie to you about everything that's happening on the show and totally
and
fuck you up for the next one.
Completely screw me over the next pay-per-view. I'm all like, what? But Billy said... Billy! I don't know. I'm not gonna say don't do that. I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Well, it'll be probably fairly obvious if I do so.
I don't know.
All of a sudden, Chris Benoit comes onto the show, starts making people tap out.
Oh, dark place, Billy. I I mean, Daniel Bryan's health was a concern when he came back from his injury for me. I was concerned he might run into some issues because Tommy John surgery is nothing to fuck with. So if it is something serious, I'm not surprised, but I am very saddened by the news. But the match itself, Bad News Barrett versus Neville, that was a solid fucking match.
Oh, yeah. And I enjoyed the ending, or rather they put Neville over. I think this was his first singles win in the E.
And a really well done one. They put him over strong. Oh god, his fucking gimmick is awful. With the fucking Kryptonian, like his rocket ship coming to Earth thing at the beginning, and his stupid cape.
And the entrance video is weird. I mean, his gimmick is he is the man that gravity forgot, but clearly there's some sort of gravity pulling him in to Earth.
Like, the gravity did that and then forgot about it.
Yes. They thought it was dead, so he doesn't have to obey the rules. Kind of like Elmer Fudd, he didn't learn gravity, he doesn't have to fucking obey it.
I like it. It's such a, like, it's 80s, and not even the good part of the 80s, and his gimmick doesn't need to be this ridiculous, and also, like, Neville's not a good wrestling name.
No.
Neville's a good name for a Harry Potter character. It's not a good wrestling name.
What they seem to have this weird thing about people losing their names, as it were. Cesaro no longer has Antonio because it wasn't manly enough or something.
Yeah, I think someone on the internet that I follow on Twitter made the joke that what they do is they give them a name randomly generated from WWE 2K, whatever the most recent one is, and then when they come up to the main roster, they cut it in half. So Antonio Cesaro becomes Cesaro, Adrian Neville becomes Neville. I'm sure this has happened to other people as well, but nothing.
Rusev?
Yeah, Alexander Rusev, I believe it was, becomes Rusev. It's their pattern now, and I don't get it, but sometimes it works. Rusev is a cool name. Sometimes it does not. Neville is not.
Yeah.
But no, Adrian Neville, Pac, overcame all this bullshit and put on an amazing match with Wade Barrett, who, again, I have grown so fond of. Sadly, great matches, unless I just feel like gushing about how cool it was, don't make for a lot of interesting discussions. So, do you have anything cool to mention about the match in specific?
I just like that they built his constant losing, and then he finally gets a big win. And I think this could, we're talking about the fantasy booking. I think this could build the next couple of pay-per-view matches if Daniel Bryan can at least make the next couple.
Yeah, this could insert him easily into the Intercontinental title scene, which is a real healthy title scene anyway, but, I mean, the only other title you have available is the U.S. title, and John Cena's currently playing with that. So I'd say if you use this to slingshot him right into the Intercontinental title scene, and he could elevate that scene a lot, he could bring a lot of good matches there, because he's very talented, and I'd say it's pretty simple booking from here. Just put him in the Intercontinental title mix, whatever that is. If Daniel Bryan's available, and if you guys do stuff with the Intercontinental title in the next pay-per-view cycle, do that. It's real simple booking.
See, what I would do is Barrett's still he's supposed to have his rematch. Neville's beating the guy that's supposed to have the rematch. Go with a triple threat the next time, and I think Neville should take the pin in that one, and then we have finally the singles match between Bryan and Barrett for whatever's after Payback.
Yeah, I mean, what would the triple threat be for the title, or just a non-title match?
For the title.
Oh, then I don't know that Daniel Bryan and Bad News Barrett have a reason to fight at Payback. Or whatever's after it.
Well, why not? If he doesn't pin Barrett, Barrett still technically has a claim. I mean, you might need to have him really assert himself to get to that title match, but I think you could draw it out a little bit further.
You're saying Barrett versus Neville?
No, Barrett versus Daniel Bryan at whatever's after Payback. Then Neville takes the loss.
Oh, that's what you meant, take the pin. Okay. I thought you meant win.
Oh, no, too soon for that.
Yeah, I think so too. Not that he's not, plenty good enough. He's just not. The fans don't give a shit about him yet.
Really? The fans were behind behind him tonight, I thought.
They were, but that's a Chicago crowd, man. He's an indie wrestler. Of course they were behind him there.
All right, fair enough.
I don't take reactions from Chicago or Pittsburgh or anywhere in the Northeast seriously at all. Maybe New York. New York can sometimes be pretty indicative of the rest of the country, but no, not Chicago, not Pittsburgh. They are just mean fucking towns.
And that's one thing we should probably refer to. You and I were just shitting on the WWE because, they kept booking Philly and Pittsburgh pay-per-views all fucking wrong. They did a good job start to finish tonight.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it was so much that they did a good job as the wrestlers did.
Yeah, but they could have given a lot of just shitty, stupid things. They could have had Cena versus Orton for the title, for example.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, you're right. I gotta give credit where credit's due. John Cena wasn't in the main event. That's always a surprise for the E.
Well, I question whether or not it was delivered or if it just happened they had this card and it happened to be in Chicago.
I'd say it's probably more likely to be that. The WWE doesn't seem to really get too much into booking for individual crowds, for individual areas, which I don't know if that's not a mistake, but it worked this time to a certain extent, so I can't fault it. The next match, because I don't have anything more to say about Bad News Barrett versus Neville, do you?
Nope.
Alright, so starting the pay-per-view proper, the next match was Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper. I don't know. This ended up being an hour-long match.
Yes.
With some caveats.
The longest singles match in years.
Yeah.
Barring the Royal Rumbles.
Which, again, with some caveats.
Well, yeah.
But I love this fucking match. This was perfect garbage wrestling, and that's not an insult. That's just these two dudes grabbing a bunch of shit, hitting each other with it, fighting into the back, taking a car ride around the city. I'm sure they went and fought in a bar for a while. It was just really solid work. This was very mid-90s hardcore match. I really, really loved it.
And that the problem I've been having with Ambrose where his matches didn't feel like they fulfilled something, I didn't feel it this time. I really felt they hit everything they needed to.
Yeah, I think the break in the middle allowed them to keep a really high energy throughout all the match segments. Because when they did that SUV thing, that's normally where your rest period would go in the middle of the match. Instead, they just left and then came back when they were rested. And then did another fast-paced match. They essentially did two short matches.
The finish was kind of odd, though. I don't know, it was kind of anticlimactic.
No, because the climax came from the ECW throwing chairs in the ring thing, which, got the fans all excited, and they did the ECW chant. It looked real cool. It was simple, but I think it was effective.
Well, I don't know that I like that, the body slam off the top that they did onto the chairs. It felt very low energy.
I think the problem wasn't low energy. I think it felt very, very rehearsed, because Dean Ambrose was a little slower off the jump than you would expect from him normally, and Luke Harper kind of had to teeter on the top rope for just a little too long, maybe 2 seconds, and that kind of takes the mystique away and drops the move of its energy,
Possibly. I don't know, it was kind of one of those matches where it ended with a move that
it ended with
you
dirty
just
deeds.
didn't want to end a match. It's like Cena versus Rusev ending with a clothesline.
Well, it ended on Dean Ambrose's finisher. He did get it off, but that was obviously the setup for the finisher.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, I like the ending. I can understand why you wouldn't, though. Big question: where do we go from here? Do we keep Dean Ambrose and Luke Harper battling each other? Do we give them something new to do?
See, I would have liked them to continue, but I would have wanted Harper to attack later to set that up. Without setting it up, I don't know about keeping it going.
Yeah, your face went over, and he went over pretty clean. So I don't know where you have to go from here with that feud. I don't know that it's not a good. I don't know that it's not a good idea. If that makes sense, I don't know if my sentence structure is right there. To just have Dean Ambrose split off and do another really solid feud with someone in the mid card. Again, I keep shoving, I'm making the Intercontinental title scene the whole damn federation at this point, but unless you want to split him off in like another personal feud, sort of a grudge match feud with somebody else that he can have good, solid, hardcore style matches with, because that's where Dean Ambrose really shines. I don't know what else you do with him at this point. Luke Harper, you can put anywhere in the card, and he's going to do a damn good job. His booking's really solid. He's a good, solid mid-card heel. I don't know that he needs a push right now, so I'm not concerned about where you put him. I am more concerned about where you put Dean Ambrose, because this was a good, solid win. He looks good coming off it, and he can capitalize on it to get over with the fans more, but you have to give him something to capitalize with. They're very much, I would say have him fight, Kane, but they're very much setting up in the main event for Kane to fight somebody else in this pay-per-view cycle. Randy Orton or somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do with Dean. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I'm looking at the pay-per-views coming up. There's Payback, Money in the Bank, Battleground, and then SummerSlam. Again, my fantasy booking, I go for the major four.
You try and book to the next big thing.
Yeah. God, immediately, just looking at what we have on the card here, I'd be very interested to see Ambrose versus Sheamus in something.
That would be good. I like the end to the Sheamus match. We'll get to that. But yeah, I think Ambrose versus Sheamus, two brawlers. I don't know that it's not a weird turn for Sheamus' gimmick, and I don't think Dolph and Sheamus are done. But I don't think that's bad booking at all.
Yeah.
But the match itself was solid. I mean, it wasn't a technical showcase, but it was a great match. You're going to hear me say great match a lot, listener, so get used to it.
It was a match. It was a card full of great matches. It really was. I mean, the Divas match kind of brought it down a little bit, and we'll get into whatever the fuck with
I actually
Reigns.
might be disagreeing with you on that, because I liked that Divas match.
It was a good match, but it was like it was just not quite the same caliber as the 5 matches that followed. It was good, but it wasn't that. Holy crap! I can't believe I'm seeing a pay-per-view with this many good matches. This would be a really standout match in a normal pay-per-view. Yeah. But it's like they had the problem that every match was very good, and
they just put on a good match.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be fair, it's a Divas match, and it was a good match, so it's already, fucking stunning.
Yeah.
But we're skipping a bunch of matches. The next thing, Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus. Oh, actually, we didn't actually cover who won the Dean Ambrose. Oh, we did. We said Dean Ambrose won. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus. Dolph Ziggler goes over, just so we can get that out of the way. But there's a wrinkle with the end. By the way, the stipulation, how long has it been since you've seen a Kiss My Ass? I'm sorry, excuse me. Kiss Me Arse match.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen... I haven't personally seen one, I don't think. It's got to be years since we've seen one.
Right? It's just... This was a blast from the fucking past.
And it really worked with what Sheamus was doing in his heelishness.
I love Sheamus' new gimmick, by the way. I love his new look. I love his new gimmick. It is solid work.
I have never been this interested in Sheamus before. He's always been a good hand to have, but now it's like, holy shit, he's a great heel.
Oh, he's always been a really great heel. He's just not I don't think he's a very good face, because he's a nice guy, but for whatever reason the fans don't connect to him. So, I mean, he's got heel down, though. He's real good at that. And it's just, I love this gimmick. I love this I'm going to beat up all the underdogs gimmick. It's just so pure loot and plunder, mustache twirling evil. It is great.
And it did not much to do with the actual structure of the match, but there was a point where his mohawk separated, and it wasn't curved up to a point, and it was just standing straight up, and I just had flashbacks to the segments he had with the Muppets.
With Beaker?
It was just, holy shit, he does look like him.
Yeah, oh god, he looks a lot like Beaker. It's weird.
Which brought me to the idea they need to have another Muppets episode, but this time he walks past, he sees Beaker, he just rips the head off and drops it and walks away.
No. He yanks and rips the hair off. Make a little Beaker with detachable hair, and then Beaker's all bald, and he's like, meep, 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 and panicking. And then the doctor's like, I didn't know you wore a toupee. That's good. It's good comedy. But I love this new gimmick. I love the little braids. I love the work. And this match was really good. Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus both put on an amazing performance. The ending was the ending that this match deserved, and the ending I wanted to see. I wanted to see exactly this ending going in. I wanted to see Dolph Ziggler win on a roll-up or something real quick, so it's not a decisive, really, really decisive win. And I wanted Sheamus to not do the kissing of the ass, to instead attack him. And they dragged it out. They made me work for it, but they gave me what I wanted, and I was super happy. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, I loved the long dragging out of it. They didn't rush it. They gave it time to build to it.
To the fans, so the fans chanted, "Pucker up, puck." They really worked up to it. And the only thing that I think would have been an improvement on that is after he, hits Dolph Ziggler in the nuts and gives him the brogue kick. When he grabs the mic, and this is the only thing I would say would be an improvement. He says something along the lines of, "Let it never be said that I'm not a man of my word." Then he kisses his ass. And then he brogue kicks him again.
Yeah. That would have been interesting. It was a nice old school swerve. You think he's going to do it, and then low blow.
Yeah, a very old school swerve, but very expected, predictable, but still good.
Well, I don't know. I disagree. My version of the boy and I always do a prediction contest as we go through the show, and we were both fairly certain Sheamus was going to win. It was a match where it wasn't too predictable, I didn't think.
No, I don't mean who won the match. I mean the after finish.
Oh, the aftermath. Okay, yeah, fine. That was fairly predictable, yeah. In a good way.
Now, from here, what do we... I don't think this is done. I think you need a second match on this.
Yeah, I definitely drag it out to a second match, but with already having a gimmick on it, I'm not quite sure where to go.
You give it something stronger, something more violent, with more of an edge to it, because that was a silly match, and now Dolph Ziggler's mad and wants revenge, and you're going into Payback. This is perfect booking. You give him something like...
It's interesting, because it does sound like kind of a comedy match, but at the same time it was played very serious.
The match up until the end was played perfectly seriously, and that's how you like it,
Yeah. Gosh, we're in agreement. We need a rematch, but where do you go from here?
In terms of what the rematch should be, a First Blood match would be fine. A little heavy for the E these days, so I don't think they do it. I don't want something too overbooked. I don't want something ridiculous. I'd say either just one of the million variations of no disqualification that they use, or some very light gimmick match, like a ladder match. They don't really do ladder matches for non-title in the E, so maybe like a tables match.
See, I don't know about tables match. It doesn't feel like it really resolved this feud. I think this feud can only truly end with a pinfall, a decisive pinfall, so unless you're using that table match to bridge us to a third match between them, I'd
say the gimmick has enough legs to get a third match, but I don't know how you'd get there. So if you wanted to end it at 2 matches, I would say maybe just a no DQ match, something where they can fight outside the ring and use as many weapons as they typically use a table, even though it's not a tables match, because they fucking love to do that because the fans love tables, and that sort of thing. Just give them some freedom to have more of a fight. And then maybe a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah, that could work.
I'd say maybe do like a no DQ match, and then if you really want that third match, make that a 2 out of 3 falls match, because that's always a good rubber match.
Yeah.
But I'd say these guys work together for at least 1 more cycle, maybe 2, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
Next match.
Yes.
All right.
One note about the Kiss Me Arse, just as a gimmick match, sorry. I'm surprised they never really did that with the Divas. You almost think they would The Horn Dogs of the Creative would do that.
Well, they're very careful about that these days because they got in a little bit of shit in the early 2000s for all the sexy matches they were putting the divas in, the lingerie matches and all that. And while they like the divas to be pretty, and they put them in revealing outfits as much as a wrestler's in revealing outfits. Most of those dudes are out there in panties anyway. They put them in wrestler outfits and they play up the sexuality. They make sure to do it in a very family-friendly way. Dudes kissing dudes' asses is funny. Ladies kissing ladies' asses is sexy time, and that's not cool for PG.
Although they're really riding the PG line.
They are. They're riding it pretty hard these days, and I'm happy to see it because maybe that means the era of the PG might be ending. I can always hope.
I don't. I'd keep it close to the line, but allow us to kind of step a toe over here and there. That way, it means something when it's happening.
Just give me 13. Give me a solid PG-13, and I'm happy.
You mean you don't want rated X? I mean, we were just talking about Divas and Kiss My Arse's matches.
I feel like that's a different program. And if you want to watch that program, the internet is more than happy to provide. But for my week-to-week wrestling, no, I'll stick with PG-13. Rated R would be, like, Dream great, so they could, say fucking stuff. But they didn't even get to that point regularly in the 90s. They still had to bleep fuck. But I don't know. Next match. I really actually want to get to this because this was hands down my favorite match on the card.
It was a damn fine match. And interestingly, it didn't have a gimmick.
No, it was just a fucking tag match. It was a tag match, the New Day, Biggie and Kofi specifically, with Xavier Woods at ringside, versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I fucking love this match. I really love this match. It was a 5-star match. I loved watching it, and alright, I need to get something out of the way, because I might be overreacting to this match. Has the New Day been heels recently?
For the last 2 weeks. Ish.
Because they've been getting boos?
Well, not just because they've been getting boos, but they actually cheated to win the number 1 contendership match.
Okay, alright. See, what I thought...
Just to explain that, sorry, just right quick, Xavier, went under the woods. He went under the woods. When he went under the ring, and it was Sin Cara was trying to get back into the ring to beat the 10 count, he reached under and held his leg so he couldn't get back in.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, that's a little less impressive then, but still, I like it. It was still a really, really solid match. I'd probably say it's still my favorite match on the card, but I'm less impressed. Because the last time I saw the New Day, they were faces, and what I thought happened was they came in, and Chicago, being fucking Chicago, were booing them. Because they just don't like them, and their gimmick is shitty. So they immediately switched and started wrestling heel, which would be very impressive. But if they've been heels going into this, that's not as impressive. Still really, really good. Solid match mechanics, solid psychology. Everything worked well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Xavier Woods is very good as a heel manager.
Yeah, this is the reason I wanted this gimmick, this stable to be heels. Xavier Woods is a great heel.
I've never seen him as heel before, so I don't know.
It's just, he does really well as a heel manager because he can do a good speech and he can sound really shitty, He can be that guy who you really want to punch in the mouth, like Jimmy Hart was back in the day. Yeah. And it's really solid wrestling. The New Day is great at being heels without being heels so much. Without being like the 2010s heel where you're not just a heel, you're also kind of shitty at wrestling because you're a heel. Like, that makes you somehow shittier. These guys are good and also dicks. But very mild dicks. While they're very happy and clapping and doing their thing. But the fans are booing them, so the E went with it. The fans are booing this face gimmick, so now it's a heel gimmick, whatever. And they didn't change it. They didn't really change the gimmick so much. They just made the guys act slightly more dickish.
Well, and Xavier Woods sold it very well. There was a point where they had Tyson and Cesaro down, and the crowd's chanting "New Day sucks," and Xavier just starts going, "Why?
What did we do? What did we do to you?"
We're winning."
It was just that made
It
me.
was wonderful because it shows that the character is still in a face mindset.
Yeah, like it made me rock back where I was sitting with laughter. It was great. I really love that they went over. I love that they went over largely clean because I'm sorry, it's 2015 in the WWE. Pulled tights do not count as cheating anymore.
Yeah, they've overused it. They took it out of their toolbox a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been overused. Earlier in the match, a face pulled somebody's tights and nobody mentioned it. Earlier in the show, that is.
Yeah, Ziggler pulled Sheamus, I believe.
Yeah, he pulled Sheamus's tights. Nobody mentioned it. I'm sorry, pulling tights doesn't count as cheating anymore. It's dickish in the same way that, like, abusing the tag mechanic to get a couple extra punches in before you change out, which everybody fucking does, is cheating. Technically, it's against the rules, but it's the same kind of against the rules that hitting someone with a chair was in 1998, where no one's going to disqualify you for it.
Well, and you say you're not quite as impressed, but I'm still pretty impressed because that was a hell of a turnaround for the New Day because the crowd just didn't give a shit for them at Mania, and they've only been heel for 2 weeks, and now
they're oh god, those were thunderous boos.
Yeah, they earned it. It wasn't just let's piss off the crowd by giving it to them. It was they earned it. You were such good heels in this 2 weeks.
And you know what? That is impressive. I thought, the reason I was so impressed, and I was really impressed, is because I thought they were faces, and when the crowd booed, they just, like, immediately switched. Like, alright, I guess for the heels, let's go with it. That's what I thought happened.
I don't think the wrestlers have that kind of
pull. They don't have that
much leeway.
They don't have that kind of stroke backstage. Yeah, I was actually talking to White about it, because he didn't watch the show. I was mentioning what happened. He was like, oh yeah, they'll probably get punished for that. And, I mean... If it's, since they were heels going into it, they probably won't, because obviously they were heels, but it's slightly less impressive for me, because it's less thinking on your feet. That's not to say it's not impressive, it's just not stunning.
Well, here's a rare chance for us to say, White was wrong.
Well, because he was misinformed. By me. I am always wrong.
I don't split hairs. He was wrong. That's the end of it.
Fair, okay. I can't dispute that. The tag scene is nice. It's comfy. You got 2 really over tag teams. Their gimmicks are good. They're over with the crowd. You got a couple other tag teams in reserve you can rotate in and out who are also over with the crowd. If memory serves, they were last month. You don't need my help here, WWE. Just don't fuck it up.
But it's always so easy to fuck it up.
Kid and Cesaro have a rematch coming.
Yeah.
New Day dodges the rematch until the next pay-per-view. Kid and Cesaro get their rematch. They win or they lose. And if they lose, have them go for a third one at the next pay-per-view. Or have somebody else come in. If they lose, clean. This is fucking ABC booking. But because the matches are so good and this is important, because the matches in the tag team division have been good for a long time, the gimmicks are good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need to fuck with this too much.
And interestingly, in this match, I think they could if they didn't already, Kid and Cesaro could essentially turn face off of this.
Oh yeah, this match easily turned them face. If they just go with it from here, they don't need to do a damn thing extra. Because Cesaro got the hot tag, this match was face turn. Easily. But from my favorite match of the night to my least favorite match of the night, that's not to say it wasn't good. I just didn't. No, second least favorite. I forgot the main event existed. But, which I did during the show, by the way. I got to the end where they were doing the main event. I was like, isn't this fucking show over? Oh yeah, there's the main event. I really don't care.
Yes, the boy messaged me during the show, which generally we don't do. Usually, the boy and I don't talk much. We just hate each other that much. We just come together once a month, tell each other how wrong we are, and go to our corners.
It's mostly for your benefit, listener. We stomach each other for 1 hour and some change every month, once a month, so that you can get entertainment. That's the sacrifice we make for you here at the Nerds Podcast.
But one of these days, we will do this podcast inside a steel cage. You won't get to see it, obviously, because this is just talk, but we'll know, and you'll know in your hearts.
And you'll know because we'll tell you a lot. Because we're terrible attention horse, listener.
And probably the Whitey's wife will complain that we set up a steel cage in the living room, but she can deal with it.
It can be a small one. It's fine. So, John Cena versus Rusev for the United States Championship match. Now, I didn't see the build for this. Was John Cena's I'm the United States Champion and I'm John Cena, so I like to fight, so I'm just fighting a new guy for the title every week? Was that just a cavalcade of John Cena burying people that whole fucking month?
Gosh, I really don't feel like it was burying anyone, because every match was solid. No matter who they were always allowed to look like they could have beaten him. Ambrose, Barrett, Stardust, and Kane. Well, Kane maybe not so much so, but Stardust especially. I thought he got a lot out of just having the match with Cena.
Got like a rub out of looking good with Cena. You get that a lot. You do. And good. I was hoping for that, but they only showed like the real highlights, so I didn't know if that was the case or not. I was kind of leaning on you to keep me informed there, so thank you. Good. Then I am in favor of the John Cena cavalcade of wrestling rematches thing. I like that they at the spoilers. John Cena went over for.
No, I didn't see that match yet.
I can't. I'm not surprised. I can't be surprised. It'd be foolish of me to be surprised, but.
No, you kind of knew going in. Just if you have any mind for booking, there is no chance in hell you're putting the title back on Rusev.
Not at this point. Probably not at all. But it's just not. No, sorry. John Cena's winning, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And it was a good match. It was. It was a fucking bull rope match. It was a Texas strap match, although they called it a Russian chain match, which, side story, confused the shit out of me and White when we first heard it, because we had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Because they didn't say Russian chain match until the actual review started, and I was the only one here at that point. White was off hanging out with his family. And they just called Rusev they were talking about how Rusev was hitting John Cena with the Russian chain. Why does the chain have an ethnicity? Why does the chain have a nationality? This is confusing. Because because it's like the Texas strap. We've just never heard the Russian chain before.
Yeah, Russian chain, bull rope, strap match. It's all
the
like
same
the no
damn
DQ
match.
street fight thing.
It's a tether match. It's a tether match named after whatever you're tethered with. It's completely expected in wrestling. Once they said Russian chain match, it became very obvious what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And this was a Texas strap match. This hit the points you hit in the Texas strap match. The one good spot I want to call out is when John Cena was trying to get Rusev off him by bouncing him into turnbuckles and almost won Rusev the match for him.
Yeah.
That was funny.
It was. It was an ingenious use of... He's not used to this kind of match.
Yep. The ending was screwy. When the two wrestlers do moves at each other, that calls off the lights. That's how that works. But not when John Cena's about to win, I guess.
Well, it was... They build it throughout the match that your momentum had to stop. And so I don't know if his hitting a move on Rusev necessarily halted his momentum. He wasn't hit, he didn't drop, he didn't have a real hiccup in his being on top.
The reason I have a problem with that is specifically because that opens up a real logic hole, and a bigger logic hole than wrestling usually has, with what the Texas strap match, what you do there. Because then, what's to stop anyone in a Texas strap match from touching a ring post, going over, kicking their opponent in the head? Touching a ring post, kicking their opponent in the head. Touching a ring post, kicking their opponent in the head to keep them down.
But they should. That would be brilliant strategy.
Right, but it's also terrible booking.
Well, no, just as a swerve in the match where you think, oh, this is how he's going to win. He gets 3 of them, he goes back to stop. He went to the line 120 times. Yeah.
I mean,
that's all I'm talking. It's a spot that should have been used.
And it's not. It's just it bothered me, but I did like the thing going up to that when they did the. I knew this is how this match was going to end. They're both going to touch 3 turnbuckles, and there's going to be 1 turnbuckle left, and then it's a race. That's how it works.
You could see that the ending was coming when they were doing that.
Yeah, because Rusev, bobbled around and tried to figure out which one he should touch next to make sure that there was only 1 left, and...
Yeah. And we're forgetting the Lana part to this, too. She got sent to the back.
I wasn't forgetting, I just don't like it.
Well, it's weird, because by all reports, they're going to, and just from the story's sake, they look to be splitting them. But what the fuck do you do with Lana after Rusev?
You turn her face and attach her to somebody else. She's a pretty lady. The fans love her.
But who the fuck are you going to put her with?
I don't know, somebody
just looking at the card, you would put her with a face. Neville, Ambrose, Ziggler, Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, and Natalya, Cena, Reigns, or who are you putting her with?
You can put her with Adrian Neville. It's a little weird and out there, but you could do it. It'd be pretty easy. You could strap her to Jack Swagger for his big comeback. After Rusev loses to Cena again next time. Year, and blames Lana for it and kicks her out, she could come back with Jack Swagger to finally bury Rusev permanently. Because let's face it, that's what they're going to do. That's what they do with big, scary foreigners. Once the big, scary foreigners lose their match, those guys get buried and then they get turned into hip-hop DJs or something.
And oh, fuck, they are building to a 4th match.
Yes, they are. Not just building, announced. Fucking announced a 4th match.
Yeah. That might be the worst part of this entire pay-per-view.
Just, they did not need to fucking go. This fucking feud does not need a 4th match. You do not need to bury Rusev this far. Because that's all, it's a fucking I Quit match. John Cena's not gonna quit. You might as well call it a John Cena must actually physically die in real life match. It's not gonna fucking happen. It's such a foregone conclusion. It's terrible.
He doesn't need a 3rd straight loss. He doesn't need to be the same guy, and the guy doesn't need to be Cena. They're going directly against what you and I said, that he needs to just turn around and keep being a fucking boss at everything.
But just, move on from the U.S. title. Fine, fuck America. I don't need their stupid bullshit title anyway. I'm gonna go kill the Intercontinental Division for a while. Do stuff like that.
Or he could have announced, I don't want to be the champion of the United States. I want to be the champion of the world. Even if you don't immediately put him into that division.
Now, he's lost, so he can lose, so you can slowly build him towards that division.
Yeah.
It's just, they are burying Rusev. That is what a burial looks like. This sequence of events, this is what a burial looks like. Everyone who's not sure what people mean when they say that, this is what it looks like.
The only way they could be more obvious is if The Undertaker showed up with a coffin just to drag him out afterwards.
So like he did to Bray Wyatt then?
Really? Did he put him in a coffin?
No, but he might as well have. So, we're already fucking...
Did you just knock on wood?
No, I'm not going to say if I did or didn't. We are already fucking stuck with this match, booking-wise. So... how do you book this I Quit match? Because they already announced it. Fantasy booking, if we go full fantasy booking, we can throw that shit out the window. Fuck that stupid match. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I would do. Just, fuck
it. Yeah. It does not need to be the 4th battle. I could do with a 4th battle down the road at Survivor Series next year. That's fine, but not now.
Next year, after Rusev's been built up towards the world title scene, and then he needs to beat John Cena to really get into it, because John Cena's the gatekeeper to the main event. Speaking of fucking the gatekeeper, I got fucking business about that later. And then have Rusev. Maybe he's done a face turn in that time, because you can easily pull that off. It's a year. Wrestling fans in a year, they'll buy anything, except Roman Reigns. So. Maybe he's done a face turn, maybe he hasn't, whatever. He's got to beat John Cena to get into the main event, and then he does. There, I just booked to next WrestleMania.
I'd want to keep him heel. I don't
Yeah,
I
I
really
want
don't
to
see
keep him heel
Rusev ever
too.
being a face. It's just not.
I would totally want to keep him heel too. They're really reluctant to have heels beat John Cena.
Yeah.
Because I guess losing, being knocked out equals giving up.
I guess.
It's
Yeah, where do you go from here to at least SummerSlam with these two?
well, fucking all right. Fantasy booking, you don't. You separate them right fucking now.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm just saying, it's separate entities. Where do you go forward if
John Cena can keep doing his shtick. Keep fighting a new guy every week. That's good. That's good TV entertainment. Shades of the TV title. I like it. I love it. Keep doing that. You're good at it, John. You put on good matches. If it's not a series of matches with you, then people losing to you isn't too much of a bother, so long as they look good doing it. Rusev, fucking, have him go murder jobbers for like a month, 2 months, just to get over the Cena loss. Then you can start pushing him towards the main event. That's what I do.
You know what's interesting? We could pair Rusev and Ambrose. Ambrose could take a loss to Rusev. I don't think a loss. I mean, we need more wins for Ambrose, but I don't think a loss to Rusev hurts him as stagnating him.
Somebody did the math, and this is the first pay-per-view match Dean Ambrose has won in like 9 months. But I think you're right.
He desperately needed the win.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think pairing him off with Dean Ambrose, since Dean Ambrose needed someone needed something to do anyway. I think that wouldn't be a bad move at all. I don't know how their ring chemistry would be, but I'd be interested to see it. I'd be interested to see them try.
Well, you could cover it up with a no DQ match. Those two would do well in that.
Yeah, and it's something we've never seen Rusev do before. We've never seen him really have to get down and dirty with the steel chairs and such.
Oh fuck, I had a point and I forgot it. Or an idea. Nope, it's not coming back to me. Let's move on.
So then we had the Divas match, and holy shit, they got 7 minutes and 18 seconds. That is an improvement. They got 5 last time. Get them 2 more minutes every match. 2 more minutes every pay-per-view. That's all I want.
That's their entire show.
Just give them until they get as much time as the Dolph Ziggler Sheamus match got, which is 9 minutes. 2 more minutes, and that is a perfectly serviceable match time for any match. 7 minutes is fine. 7 minutes you can fucking tell a story in, and they did. This match was good. And there was a fucking Bella in it, and it was still good.
And the Chicago crowd didn't immediately shit all over the Bellas either.
No.
The Chicago crowd was very well behaved tonight.
For a Chicago crowd? Yeah, you're right. I mean, they fucking chanted CM Punk a lot, but only in the breaks, and only during the pre-show. When the show was actually going, they didn't chant CM Punk very much. They did a little, but not very much, and that was very well behaved of them.
Yes, kudos to Chicago. They deserve a lollipop after that.
Yeah, they whined a little, but ultimately they were a big boy, and they get a lollipop. This was a good match. This was a well-told match. This was well-wrestled. This was probably the best match I've seen Nikki Bella put on fucking ever.
Well, and she was really fucking trying, as she did a springboard out of the corner enziguri at one point.
Yeah, right? I'm not joking when I say this is the best match I've ever seen Nikki Bella wrestle. And Naomi is fucking amazing. I've been saying that for a while. This was. I'm a little sad. I'm a little sad the Bella won, but since she won off an assist from Brie, you can build that to another match. And since they have they been giving the Divas time on TV? Because there apparently was a storyline going into this.
Yeah, there was a little time. Most of it was Naomi complaining that she hadn't been given a real opportunity before now.
Which, I mean, she got time. There was time, there was mics, there were stories told. This is an improvement, ladies and gentlemen. This is an improvement. Take it where it fucking comes. I'm happy.
Although I will say, Naomi needs a lot of work as a heel, and I don't know what the fuck was up with her attire
I know. Don't you diss her light up shoes. Those were fucking amazing.
No, the light up shoes were fine, but the all black is just, it didn't pair well with the shoes either.
No, because she had the light up, like, day glow 3D glasses. Give her a couple more tchotchkes, glowy shit, and she has, like, a very 80s 80s album art sort of attire, where it's just black with Dayglow shit on it. You know what I'm talking about. Like, The Darkness, that metal band. They used a lot of that stuff in their first album. But,
I've never heard of them, but I'll take your word on it. I didn't like her gimmick. I didn't like the attire.
Her promo was awful. I mean, well, not awful. It just wasn't, it was blah.
She hits the right marks with the words, but her tone isn't quite right. The acting isn't quite perfected.
But I don't know that you need her to be a solid heel. I think she could do well as a neutral party, a tweener, you know? Just someone who's not quite heel, not quite face, who's just a wrestler. Because she's a good wrestler, and she's got a good gimmick with her Dayglow shit, she's got a good attire, she can be, you know, the person who's not evil, just isn't gonna fuck around. She's here to win matches. It's a stripped down gimmick, certainly, but you can work with that for a while. You can give her something with that, because the other divas are such fucking caricatures. That, I mean, someone whose gimmick is a wrestler might be, I don't know, a little refreshing.
Well, and this was an odd match because the Bellas were the faces, Naomi was the heel, and the heels won off a heel, or the faces
no, they
won
were
off
faces
a heel
going
tactic.
into this. Have they been being built as faces going into this?
They've been cheered by the crowds just willingly. They
what?
really didn't do much. Yeah.
Because their behavior, I've watched the pay-per-views. Their behavior hasn't changed at all. They're still acting like heels. They never stopped.
I know. That's why it's fucking weird.
That's just the fans being weird. This was a heel.
I don't know. The fans have been behaving with Reigns. I don't see why they would do it with the Bellas.
Maybe Total Divas is finally getting over?
No. Stop being stupid, boy. You're wrong.
I mean, that's the only thing I can fucking think of because they're the stars of that show. That would explain it. They never stopped They never stopped acting like heels. This was a heel versus heel match. This was two heels fighting. I mean, the fans were cheering stuff more than people, as far as I could tell.
No. The Bellas were cheered when they came out.
I did not notice.
I noticed because I was like, "What the hell?" I did not expect Chicago to be approving of any Bella.
But, I didn't notice that shit at all. That's really surprising. Is Paige legit injured, do you know? Or is it, like, an obvious thing?
She's out to film something with The Miz, Santa's little helper or something.
Oh, okay, cool. She'll be back in a couple months then. She can get back in the mix. The Divas Division, more what you've been doing, E. For fantasy booking, the stuff you did, do it more. More time on TV to tell stories. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes for their matches, for their big matches, I'm happy. You give them as much time as you gave Dolph Ziggler, then we're good. You don't even need to give them the 21 minutes you gave Roman Reigns or the 13 minutes you gave John Cena. Just give them 9 minutes. 9-10 minutes, that's perfect. This was solid work. I can't fault them for it. More. Give me more of what you're doing. That's all you need to do for fantasy booking right now. Once you've got them set, then we can work on actually building storylines.
Quite so.
Any other thoughts for the Divas match?
Not that I can think of, no.
Alright, cool. That means on to Roman Reigns versus the fucking Big Show. Alright, real talk, listener, Billy. Real bro level talk. I was not looking forward to this fucking match. This match was, oh god, I was just dreading this shit show. I was not looking forward to it. And I'm a medium-sized man. I can admit when I'm wrong. This was not a bad match.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I'd call it good, but it was average, and it could have very easily been shit.
Yeah, this could have been... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so to hit average, that's pretty fucking good, relatively speaking.
Yeah, Big Show wasn't called on to do much. Mostly punch Roman Reigns, let Roman Reigns sell. And he did that. Big Show held up his end of the match as well as he ever does. Roman Reigns held up his end of the match. This match got to the finish. It didn't win. It didn't get first. Didn't get second. Didn't even get third. But by God, it finished.
And the show was very, very good at being a heel. I mean, every time Reigns would pull out a table, he'd go, "No, we put it back under."
No, we put the table back under.
He was really playing with Chicago.
We smash the table so you cannot see it break. No tables. I am the most unfun. You like kendo sticks? I break kendo sticks. He was very.
It was good. Yeah, it was good healing on his part.
I liked it a lot. He was wrestling heel. He was wrestling very heel. He did a good job at that. I still want the show to go away, but he didn't do a bad job here, so I can't fault this match. Wasn't bad. That is the most I can say about it. When both guys held up their ends, it wasn't a bad day at the office. This was solid work. It kind of stands out as being mildly meh when the show up to this point was fucking amazing, but it didn't ruin my energy, and the big spots they put in were really cool big spots.
I think there's really more to talk about with the crowd reaction to every part of that match. It was just mind-boggling sometimes.
Actually, I meant to talk about that during the John Cena thing. John Cena was getting the boos that John Cena gets in Chicago. There was a small cheering contingent, which I was surprised by, but he was getting the boos that he gets in Chicago. And then Rusev sent Lana away, and they started cheering John Cena out of spite because Rusev sent Lana away, and you could tell John Cena was completely bemused. Because they started going, USA! USA! They started cheering for John Cena because Rusev sent Lana away after they chanted, "We want Lana." That was if that was planned, that was amazingly canny on the WWE's part. Because that got John Cena cheers, and John Cena was looking around with this look on his face like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Is this really happening?"
Well, he did get some USA chants early on, but they weren't sustained. It was just kind of, "Oh, this is what we're supposed to do," not really feeling it. But they did get into it when Lana was sent back, you're right.
The fans got sustained behind John Cena, Chicago fans, because that's how much they were pissed off that Rusev defied them and didn't give them Lana. That is beautiful. If that was intentional, that was fucking canny booking. I had to mention that. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. I have to assume that it was planned. Again, it's one of those things. I don't think they have the wrestlers today have the leeway to make that kind of decision on the spot.
I think the sending Lana away thing was planned. I don't know. Did they plan for it to cause that kind of reaction? Or was it just a piece of the match to sell the Lana Rusev split? I don't know. If they knew that's what was going to happen, if they bet on that, fucking good job.
Well, I think it was supposed to get Rusev boos. I don't know that it was necessarily meant to get Cena cheers.
Yeah, that's probably what they were aiming for. If they got a good surprise there, then still, good job. You guys got lucky.
But
the
reactions during the Reigns show match was very weird.
Yeah. They were... Go ahead.
Sorry, go. No, I was just going to say, I know Reigns versus show, we've seen it a dozen times. It was never going to be, the wrestling clinic, but it was... I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, the fans were way more into this than I was expecting the crowd to just fucking die at this point. They weren't. They were into it. They were chanting... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't know that I agree that they were fully into it. It was weird. Like say 80% of the crowd was reacting to things, not all of the time, and a good portion of that was cheers for Reigns. There was some boos. You could notice it, but it was there were times where they'd be into something like the table spots, but then there's other times there was a moment when Show reached down to the outside, grabbed Reigns by the head and just lifted him up, and then Reigns grabbed his head and dropped down. The crowd no-sold that. They didn't react to it at all.
That's not a big spot. They were into the big spots. Like I said, the big stuff they did in the match was very cool, and the fans were into that. There were some cheers for Reigns, there were some boos for Reigns. Show got mostly boos. I didn't really hear anyone cheering Big Show so much as they were booing Reigns. But it was a mixed reaction, but it wasn't a dead reaction. They didn't react to every single thing that happened in the match, but when they did react, it was loud. They were into it.
That spot I just mentioned, it was that was a comeback. The appropriate thing is to cheer during any kind of even slight comeback, and they just didn't.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think they weren't 100% invested, but they weren't no selling the match. They were taking what was being offered and reacting to it as appropriate for a match of its caliber.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just odd. There were loud cheers at times. There were some boos at times. There was deadness at certain times, and it was just a weird, bizarro thing.
I think it's that they were having fun with the match, but they didn't really give a shit about either of the people in it. They weren't sold on the characters so much as they were having fun with the match. So when something cool happened in the match, they were reacting however they felt they should react. Booing Reigns, cheering Reigns, booing the Big Show, cheering the thing that just happened that was really cool. Whatever they thought they should be doing, they were doing it loud when they felt like they should, but they weren't into the story of the match because they didn't really give a fuck about those two guys.
See, it's weird because they did seem to be behind Reigns as a character.
To a certain extent, because he's the good guy and he's doing cool stuff, but not
even just during the match. I mean, he had a promo before the match where the crowd cheered for him. Not as loud as it had been last year around this time, but still.
Well, I see. Those were lukewarm cheers. Like I was surprised. I would have been surprised to see cheers at all if you hadn't been keeping me up on the fact that apparently the WWE just completely has Stockholm syndrome their audience at this point, and they just kept shoving Reigns down their throat until he started to get cheers.
Yeah, that is, listener. That is the one time throughout the weeks building to this that I ever really messaged the boy just to tell him what was going on. Hey, Reigns got cheered this week. Hey, he got cheered again in London. And it was, what was it, like last week, I messaged you and I was furious that they were cheering him.
Because it's just, make up your fucking minds.
Yes, like I told the boy, it is such a very interesting feeling and moment to be so angry. You're sitting in the chair writhing, making little angry squeaking noises because you got exactly what you wanted.
How dare you do the thing that I told you to do? And I'm not angry. I am blissfully joyous about it. It's really fucking funny to me. That Vince McMahon was like, nope, keep putting them on TV. They're going to cheer him eventually. They'll do it because I say so. Keep doing it. Double down on Roman Reigns. It'll work. And then it did.
Well, and they should. He is a good, important part for the future to have. They still need to do some repairs after what the crowd did to him, but they're turning it around.
Yeah, this is a good success story for Roman. But for booking forward for Roman Reigns, and again, my booking for the Big Show remains unchanged. He gets a 6-month vacation.
I can agree to that.
That's always going to be my booking for the Big Show.
He comes back after 6 months, send him away again for 6 months.
Have him come back, do 2 matches, leave again. Just to everyone remind, Big Show's here, he's a guy, okay, back you go. But
he can just show up in backstage segments with his trophy. Hey, remember when I did this?
Have him come back for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal every year. Make that his Undertaker thing.
I could live with that, actually.
And I'm fine with that. Like, just, he doesn't limit the Big Show. He does not need to be an every week player. My booking for Roman Reigns is, they pretty much told me what they're planning on doing with one of the promos coming for Payback. Roman Reigns, had a little thing where he said, the promo, the little video package for Payback says, steal my moment, you'll feel my rage. I am vengeance, I am Payback. They're probably booking towards Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns for Payback, and I'm fine with that. I don't necessarily know that I want Roman to win or lose. I'm interested to see what they do there, but...
No. Rollins isn't losing this title this soon.
No, I'd say he has like 6 months in the tank. But I'm fine with that, because you need to get that, even if you're going to have Roman lose, like get screwed over by the Authority or whatever, I don't care. Get screwed over by Randy Orton, get screwed over by Kane, get screwed over by, I don't know, Big E Langston. I don't really care. You have to get that off the table. You have to get that you have to have that match if you want to get Roman back into the lesser, into the upper mid-card to work on him, work on his stuff, get him some more promo work, get him some more experience so he can really come back and take the main event by storm in a little while. If you want to do that, you have to get him off the main event table, and to do that, you have to give him a match with Seth Rollins. The grudge there is too prominent for it to just go away. And still be good booking. I mean, you could just fucking push him off to the side, but that's shitty booking.
Yeah, I agree with your point. I don't know that I'd want it quite this soon. I might wait for the pay-per-view after Payback.
Nah, Payback's too good a name. Like, that's a silly reason, but it's a reason. Payback is too good a name.
Well, see, I thought the promo would have been better if they had been building to the event Vengeance. Because, like, I Am Payback was just like one line too many. And it just... You had the Wham line with I Am Vengeance.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's a Roman Reigns promo. Goes on just about one line too long.
It's like if Batman, gave some speech to a criminal and he ended with, because I am the Batman.
Well, I am Vengeance, I am the Knight, I am Batman.
Yeah, you don't need, and I do things afterwards, you end it with Batman. That's the Wham line.
I am Vengeance, I am the Knight, I am Batman.
Yes.
And I'm Justice also.
Exactly. That's exactly what the promo felt like. I am Vengeance, also Payback.
Just those are synonyms, but that's the name of the pay-per-view, so I have to say it.
Yeah.
You're probably right, but it's very obviously probably what they're going for, and I got no problems with it. I'd say that's good. Have him win, have him lose, have him win and then get screwed over. I don't care. Just one way or another, that match has got to happen. And for me, if you're planning on having Roman Reigns win, I don't really agree with that. I think Seth Rollins needs to wheedle on to that championship a good 4 or 5 more months. Just because it's just to get a real haterade in the audience. Just to make them really hate him so that when someone beats him, it's amazing. But if you're going to have him lose and get screwed over, do it quick. The quicker you do it, the easier it's going to be to recover from.
Yeah. I don't know. I could get behind, teasing building towards it, but then something screws him out of his
shot
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
so that,
tease that for like 5 or 6 months. That way when someone beats Seth, it can be Roman. I could get behind that too.
Yeah. Well, I don't see... I see Rollins at least holding on to it till SummerSlam to face Lesnar, and I don't even see Rollins losing it back to Lesnar.
Nah, see, but I don't... I really, really hope it's not Rollins-Lesnar one-on-one at SummerSlam. That's not... No. That's a bad match. That's bad booking.
Why? Why do you feel that?
Lesnar has a very specific gimmick. His gimmick is murderer. Real-life murderer. He's a serial killer. The only reason he hasn't killed anyone in the ring yet is because the bell ringing sound stops his murder rage boner. That's his gimmick. You can't pair Seth Rollins with that gimmick. Because unless you really actually do want to turn Brock Lesnar face, because him fucking destroying Seth Rollins is the easiest way to turn Brock Lesnar permanently face forever.
He's already face.
No, the fans are cheering him. There's a difference. He hasn't acted any different. If you want to turn him face, having him murder Seth Rollins is the way to do that. And if you want to, that's fine, but I still don't know that it's good booking, because you can't... Because if you make Brock Lesnar have that gimmick of real-life murder person, and he's a face, that's John Cena again.
With a different story, but, I don't know, I don't think you can pull the fans back from cheering him at this point. They just really
fine.
Enjoy that.
And you know what? That's fine. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying trying to pull them back from cheering him. I'm saying if you're going to give him a match against someone the fans really want to see get the shit kicked out of them, also give him a match against someone the fans, or at least not all the fans, because Rollins has a pretty 100% universal boo rating, unless he's up against a mixed reaction like Cena or Reigns. Also give them someone the fans want to cheer. That way they have a reason to be mixed about Brock Lesnar, and that way Brock Lesnar continues to look like a neutral party, not a good guy.
But you're not going to get out of Rollins versus Lesnar either.
I'd say you could easily get out of Rollins versus Lesnar. You can get out of Rollins versus Lesnar by sticking anyone else in the match. Like, I know triple threat matches aren't the best thing in the universe, but, dude, Brock Lesnar is better as not a face, either a heel or just a fucking force of nature. He's a hurricane. He is destruction. He is going to murder everything in the nearby vicinity. Whether you're a face, whether you're a heel, it doesn't matter. And I feel it... How to get this across? It'd be like they turned Randy Orton face from heel at one point by not having him change how he acted. He was still a complete psychopath. They just pointed him at the bad guys exclusively. That's what this would be. And while I appreciate that, I don't know that it's the right move for Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar's already fucking unstoppable. He doesn't need to be the good guy, too. That's just John Cena again.
Well, you know what? I think we can merge what we're talking about here, essentially. You know, you were talking about triple threat. Well, what if we have basically a WrestleMania rematch? We can handle Reigns, his thing with Rollins getting somewhat settled. We can have Lesnar versus Rollins. We can have all three of them at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that'd be a fine booking. I'm fine with that. That inserts Reigns in there. If Reigns is ready at that point, then you have Reigns win. Preferably over Lesnar, because that looks stronger, and Lesnar is going to be around for a while. He should probably take a loss at some point. But if he's not ready, then have Lesnar eat Rollins for his title back. You have outs either way. Doesn't hurt anybody's gimmick.
I don't know. I want Rollins to have a good, strong reign. I'd be considering leaving him as champion going into next Mania.
I don't know. He doesn't have. That's too long. You can't have the Miz, because this is the same kind of title reign the Miz had, where it's a shitty little guy who everyone thinks isn't good enough to actually be champion, but he managed to weasel his way in with the Money in the Bank thing, and now he's just holding on to it for as long as he possibly can. You don't do that for a year. That is not a year-long championship reign. That is 6 months max. Otherwise, it starts to get boring.
Well, I think you'd have to change mid-reign. I think we're going to see the end of... I hope we see the end of the Authority. Or at least the Authority... At least the Authority backing Rollins. And then Rollins has to actually be the champion without people having his back. And then you can change it from the cowardly guy just hanging on to it as long as he can, to the guy that's actually pretty fucking good when he's on his own.
Yeah, see, I don't know that gimmick change happens this title reign. I don't know that I think that gimmick change happens after this title reign. When he loses it, and the Authority abandons him for losing it, and then he gets all pissed, then he does the, coming up on his own thing. I don't think this happens mid-title reign. I think that's a big enough shift in character. You need an impetus for it. You need a trigger, a reason. And the reason for that, because if he's still the champion, there's no reason the Authority would abandon him. The reason for that, it would be him losing the title.
Alright, fair enough. I guess part of my problem is the format goes, face champion comes out of Mania, they lose it to a heel, the heel goes into Mania. But now we have a heel coming out of the Mania, so the next person is a face, and they go into Mania, so we have a heel win the Rumble?
That's not unheard of. That's not unheard of at all. Alberto Del Rio did it.
It's very odd. It feels unnatural to an extent.
I mean, it doesn't feel like completely ridiculous, but it's not the normal thing. But it allows you for some freedom and some ways to surprise people. Who says that the next champion has to go into Mania? Now, by no means do I want the title to change hands every fucking week or anything, but I would be alright with give Rollins a good 6 months, a good long reign, maybe to SummerSlam. If you want to put off the match with Lesnar, if Lesnar's not ready to go by SummerSlam or whatever, then you put it off and he keeps it until Lesnar comes back. Whatever the case, I don't think he should keep that title for the rematch with Lesnar. I think it's just muddy storytelling. But I want Rollins to have a good, solid run. He's a great heel. He has a great persona. It's really solid. It's the best fucking thing to come out of the Authority ever, basically. But whenever he loses it, the face who wins it, who wins it from him, or if it's Brock, because Brock could easily win it from him as just a force of murder, triple murder. But my problem is, if Brock wins it off him, there's every chance that John Cena fights Brock for the title at WrestleMania.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Because from what I understand, the original intent for the last WrestleMania, Vince wanted The Rock. So it could end up being Rock versus Brock.
Which I wouldn't be happy about either. But for different reasons. I think whoever wins it off Seth Rollins doesn't necessarily need to get all the way to Mania with it. You could have a surprise win of it at like Last Chance or even the Rumble, just to freshen things up. It doesn't necessarily need to be whoever wins the title off Rollins goes directly into Mania. Mostly because I don't want Rollins to end up being champion to the end of 2015. It's just that specific gimmick does not need to be champion that long. It gets boring. The fans lose interest because there's a cadence to this. You can build to that payoff, that money shot, for a certain amount of time, but after a certain point, it just gets boring.
I guess maybe I'm just a bigger Rollins fan than my booking warrants, or whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of the guy, but the thing is, he's not fucking going anywhere. I expect him to have a good result. He has a good face run at him a couple years from now, when the stink of the whole Shield thing is off him. He has a good solid heel run in him before that, a good solid other heel run after the face run. He's going to be a good solid player. I don't see him going fucking anywhere.
Oh no, he's like the next generation's heel, or Orton.
Yeah,
character-ish.
He's their replacement CM Punk. He's not going anywhere. He's their spare. They're not getting rid of him. So I got no problems with him losing the title after like 6 months because it's not going to be the last time he holds it. At least if they're not retarded, it's not going to be the last time he holds it. Which, I mean, you can never count on the to be that, but did we actually talk about the match itself?
We haven't gotten to the main event yet. No, we were got off on Reigns and what we do for him, and
that brought us into the booking for the main event because he's kind of tied into the main event. All right, well, since we already talked about booking for the main event for Rollins and Reigns, what about the actual main event match? What do you think about it?
It was a solid match. It wasn't anything surprising. I don't think.
No, I disagree. I dislike this match. It's the only match on the card I didn't like. This match was overbooked in the same way they've been overbooking cage matches for a while now. Because the whole purpose of a cage match is to be a stripped down match. It is two dudes fighting, and then they fight. And if the heel wins, he wins from being canny, and if the face wins, he wins from beating up the heel. If you overbook a cage match, it defeats the purpose of the entire fucking cage match. There's no reason for that to have been a cage match because there was still interference anyway. It's the same thing they did with the John Cena Bray Wyatt cage match, and even though Bray Wyatt won, I still think that match was fucking overbooked. If you're going to do interference in a match, there's no need to make it a cage match. Because, it's a cage match where there was interference anyway. That's not a swerve, that's just stupid.
Well, it would be a good swerve every few years, but they don't wait that long.
No, it's every damn cage match.
Like the tights pulling. They took the tool out of their toolbox, it's not there anymore.
Because it's a cage match. That's a 100% guarantee that there's going to be some shenanigans. Someone's going to interfere. That is a 100% guarantee.
Yeah. And you had something to say about Kane as, Zool, the gatekeeper or whatever.
Oh God, that was a stupid thing. The gatekeeper, by the way, that's a joke waiting to happen. But it was unnecessary. I get why they did it. Kane's loyalties are iffy. I saw every fucking thing he did, the entire match coming. There was no surprise there. He was useless. He was a bump on a fucking log. He didn't add to the story in any surprising or interesting way.
I think the only reason Kane should have been there was if he was going to turn on Rollins and we were going to get Kane Rollins at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, that would have been
for him to maintain status quo, he didn't need to be there.
It's a distraction from a honestly good match that those guys are putting on. Not like stellar, not like, the fucking tag match stellar, but still good. It was serviceable. It was a good cage match. They, did the stuff you do in a cage match. It wasn't bad. It just, I didn't give a shit because I already knew everything that was going to happen. Every damn thing. From Rollins trying to get out over the cage, and then J&J Security comes out to try and pull him down, to Randy Orton defeats them by kicking them through the cage, he threw Rollins at them, but it's essentially the same fucking spot, to Kane slamming the door on both of them. Now, to be fair, I thought that was going to happen in two separate occasions, not both at once. I guess they surprised me there. But, Kane's presence made that match entirely predictable. I knew he was going to stop J&J from coming in, and then he was going to go in with J&J, and then he was going to kill J&J, and he was going to kill Rollins, and he was going to kill Orton. I thought that was going to happen the other way around, but it did. Both did happen. I got the order of operations wrong a lot, but I hate to say it, but I fucking called this match basically big spot for big spot entirely because Kane was there.
I didn't put quite that much thought into it. When I come into a show, I try to just live in that moment. You clearly had something against this going into it.
No, I didn't. Remember, I don't watch week to week. I had no fucking idea what this match was going to be until this show. It's just when they told me Kane was going to be the gatekeeper, I was like, oh, there's going to be some shenanigans. And then when the match started, I was like, this is going to happen. Then this is going to happen. Now this is going to happen. Now this is going to happen. Yep. Oh, that didn't happen. Oh, no, it just happened a little later. Oh, okay. And then, yep. All right. Just complete lack of surprise. This was a beautiful symphony that ended on the cellist farting really loud. It's just a real shitty note to go out on. Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, it wasn't anything great. It really shouldn't have had J&J Security at all. I could have dealt with Kane with what he did, even if it shouldn't have happened that way. If J&J hadn't been there, it does defeat the purpose of a cage match.
It's just, I'm be honest with you, I love fucking cage matches. I wanted to like this match. Maybe that's what I against it going into it. I wanted to like it and knew from what they said that it wasn't gonna be something I liked. Also, by the way, new WWE Champion Randy Orton. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, this is a direct quote. At Extreme Rules, the RKO is banned. Ha 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 ha, I'm Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins used an RKO on his opponent. He's disqualified. New champ.
Well, the commentators were trying to muddy those waters by saying, well, Randy used it first on Kane. But
yeah, no, sorry. Chair shots are, chairs are banned in regular matches, but if you hit some guy who's not in the match with a chair, you don't get disqualified. This is how wrestling works. You banned the RKO, you don't get to use it either. That's new champ, Randy Orton.
Well, I wish I had the video right now and could go back to hear his exact words, because for some reason I got the feeling like if you heard the exact phrasing he used, it might have justified it. It might have said, your RKO is banned. But then they didn't, hype it right in the graphics and such.
In the promo, the video packages? I don't know. I only saw it was in the video packages.
Yeah.
And in the video package, at Extreme Rules, the RKO is banned.
Yeah.
Someone on the internet made a great joke that Randy Orton should get around the RKO ban by doing a diamond cutter. Counts. He just goes bang at the end. It's fine. It's not my joke. I stole that joke, just so you know. But I love it, so I decided to say it anyway.
I was really wondering how he was going to do that. I was half expecting him to do it, from behind Rollins and say, well, it was different.
Different move. I was expecting the punt kick, if there was going to be anything, because they've been building up the punt kick as he's going to do it for 6 months. I was expecting this to be the thing they do the punt kick for. I wasn't expecting him to win with it, but
yeah.
But they didn't. This match. It wasn't a bad match. I don't want to go overhype and say it was a shitty match. It wasn't a shitty match. I just didn't like it.
Fair enough. I thought it was good. It could have been better. They definitely overbooked it. Which I guess is our theme for this match.
Yep. And we already talked about booking from here. I don't know what you do with Randy from here. If you want to keep Seth busy until SummerSlam by having him fight Randy again, and have someone else fuck up Roman Reigns' thing, have it be Kane, whatever.
Yeah.
And then keep those two busy fighting each other for another match. You could do a rubber match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins. That'd be fine. Keep him busy for the next couple months if you really didn't want to do Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at Payback, which I'm fine with. That'd be good booking as far as I'm concerned for Randy. You?
I tend to think after this you'd have Orton versus Kane, since Kane basically cost him the match, though I can't say I'm looking forward to that.
That's probably more accurately what they're going to do. I just don't know that I want to see Orton versus Kane, because I already lived through 2007. And I don't need a time machine. But
I have nothing for Orton or Rollins, really.
So why not just, you don't have anything to do, you don't have anything to do, you guys fight each other, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're probably going to end up doing Orton versus Kane.
Depending on how you build it, you could do Orton versus Kane versus Rollins.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Just, again, to keep Roman out of the title scene, to keep Seth busy, have Seth weasel his way out of it again, outsmart them both, that way he can walk away and do the genius tap on his head as he's walking up the aisle with the title at the end of the night. I'd say do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. But that's the show. Any overall booking direction stuff or final thoughts about the show or anything you wanted to talk about?
Yes. What the fuck are we going to do with Bray Wyatt?
They got some plan. A man cannot become a god. I don't know what the fuck that means. He did a really good promo. I'm interested to see where that promo goes. He's gonna keep fighting the Undertaker. Is the Undertaker gonna do something besides WrestleMania? I highly doubt it. Who else?
From what I understand, it's going to be Ryback, which that's going to be terrible, man.
Where the fuck did you get that?
Well, the dirt sheets, which could very well be wrong, but who the fuck else? I don't know.
Is he fighting the hunger demon that lives inside Ryback? Is that what's going on?
He just wants to get him some Fruit Loops. And this meeting he's on.
I don't fucking know. You know what? I do know what we're going to do with Bray Wyatt. You're going to give him, this is fantasy booking, so you're going to give him 4 solid pay-per-view cycles of big wins over established guys looking really strong and legitimate. That's what you're going to fucking do with Bray Wyatt. You're going to try and recover from the utter burial he got over the last 6 months. That's what you're going to do with Bray Wyatt. You're going to give him good solid wins that make him look like a fucking threat. And then you can start working him into an actual title scene. Intercontinental, main event, I don't care. But you're going to give him a good solid few months of good wins against, who's a nice solid face he could eat?
Ryback.
Yeah, Ryback. I mean, I guess. Ziggler. Poor Ziggler. I mean, I feel bad, but yeah, I'm sorry. Bray Wyatt needs this more.
Yeah.
Ryback, Ziggler, just have him eat faces for the next 4 months. I don't give a shit who. And then once he's nice and established as, the new face of fear, have him go up against the big face and beat them.
Well, part of the problem is just playing his gimmick. He's supposed to be the mastermind, the guy that gets into your head psychologically. And with the tactics he uses, you generally need to think ahead of where you want him to end up. And they don't think that far ahead. And I know this as a problem because, I participate in the E-Feds like you and White, and that's my main guy's basic bread and butter, but I don't get to use it quite as often as I would like because it's just difficult to always be coming up with something to show how devious and psychologically minded he is.
Yeah, and the other big problem... Alright, there's 2 answers here. The actual thing I was going to say and then a joke that came to me. First, the joke. The other big problem, he doesn't get to win matches. That's kind of an impediment. But then the actual response I was going to give. The other big problem is that they don't think ahead to where they want him to be, and they don't show him as being the guy who gets into your head, because fucking nobody sells that. Nobody sells it.
I will say Cena did sell that.
Cena sold it, and then nobody since has. The Undertaker didn't even cut a promo. Which, you know what? I'm sorry. I know Undertaker's a legend. He had to get he had to get back on his feet if he wants to do wrestling matches for the future. Bray probably didn't mind losing to him at all. Probably saw it as a huge honor, because that's how most people see that. At least cut a fucking promo, Mark. Come on, man. You're better than that.
Well, was that him, or was that the WWE wanting to hold him off? It's one of those, where do you really want to lay the blame?
Really hope it's the second one, and I'm perfectly comfortable blaming Vince. So let's do that.
Well, can you blame Vince at this point either?
Vince is still the shot caller for the main show.
Well, I don't know. I've heard conflicting reports. What I understand is Triple H has taken over most of it, and Vince's creative filter. He gets the last say. So it could be him, it could be Triple H, it could be both.
No, I'm going to give this one to Vince. I know that Taker losing was Vince's idea, so I'm going to go ahead and lay this one at Vince's feet, too.
Well, it would all come down to Vince anyway. He could have, even if that was H's plan, he could have filtered it.
He could have been like, Paul, that's a stupid idea. No. If you're going to be the guy who, if you're the buck stops here guy, then the buck stops there. If something goes wrong with the buck, that's your fucking fault.
And it all depends on what you're going to do in the future. If, like, next year's going to be Taker's final match, well, then I definitely think he should have lost to Bray and built that up as his one last hurrah. But if he's going to just get back into the winning streak, I can kind of understand letting Wyatt be the first victim back.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure it's not Wyatt losing that I have a problem with. It's Wyatt losing without Taker even basically acknowledging him as a threat.
But at the same time, can you have Taker take Bray Wyatt as a threat after everything Bray Wyatt has been doing over the last year? And
I think
nobody's going to out-psych The Undertaker. Nobody is.
But I think Undertaker taking him seriously after the last 6 months would be a great push for Bray, or would have been a great push for Bray. And, yeah, fucking Shawn Michaels almost managed it, and Bray Wyatt is at least as good on the mic. So...
Well, someday we're going to have Skell on here, and you two can go back and forth on the Wyatt promos, because he's of the total opposite opinion that Wyatt is just... Not necessarily that he's terrible, but that his promos don't really say anything. And I would be interested to see you two go at it.
I so rarely get to do this, but I feel honored. He is wrong.
That's my shtick, damn it. I am suing for copyright infringement.
I tell you what, don't sue. In recompense, you can do my shtick. We're at about the end of the podcast. You know my shtick. Do you remember your line?
I think so. Is everything better when nerds talk about it?
Yes, it is.
Fuck it, let's go!